What is the way of the LuDragon? This is something that although we describe this as way of doing things, it is not the absolute way. The name that is being given is not the absolute or only way. Nameless is the source of heaven and earth. The LuDragon is the mother of all things. Whoever has no desires can see the essence of life. Whoever whose mind is clouded with desires sees its manifestations, and not the essence of life. Although they both may be called the cosmic mystery of the dragon, from the cosmic to the mystical is the door to the essence of all life. The way of the LuDragon produces all things, and the power of the dragon nourishes. The matter of the dragon gives us physical form. The environment of the dragon shapes their abilities. Therefore all things respect the dragon way and honor its power. The dragon way is respected and power is honored. Everyone says that the way of the dragon is great and beyond comparison, and because it is great, it cannot be compared. If the way of the LuDragon was compared, it would already have seemed small. The dragon has 3 treasures to be maintained and cherished. The first is love. The second is frugality, and the third is not pushing oneself ahead of others. From love comes courage, from frugality comes generosity, from not pushing oneself ahead of others comes leadership. Now courage without love, generosity without frugality, and leadership by pushing oneself ahead of others are fatal. For love wins all battles, and is the strongest defense. The dragon gives love to save and protect without anyone's order and always naturally. The way of the LuDragon tells us that the wise have ancient mystic wisdom and profound understanding too deep to comprehend. The LuDragon tells us that because they cannot be comprehended, they can only be described by analogy. Cautious, like crossing a stream in winter. Alert, like unaware of danger on all sides. Courteous, like a visiting guest. Self-effacing, like ice beginning to melt. Genuine, like a piece of carved wood. Open and receptive, like a valley freely mixing like muddy water. Who can make sense of a muddy world? The way of the dragon says, let it be still and it will become clear. Who can remain calm and through activity came back to life? Study the way of the dragon, for those who embrace this way do not overextend themselves. Because they do not overextend themselves, they do not wear out and are not replaced. The LuDragon way tells us that, in leading people and serving heaven, it is best to be frugal. Being frugal is to be prepared from the start. Being prepared from the start is to build up power. By building up power, nothing is impossible. The LuDragon tells us that if nothing is impossible, then there are no limits. Those without limits are capable of leading a country. Those with maternal leadership can long endure, like the dragon. And like the dragon, this is to be deeply rooted in a firm foundation. The way of long life and eternal vision. The LuDragon counsels us that to know that we do not know, this is best, but to think that we know when you do not is a disease. Recognizing this disease as a disease is to be free of it. Like the LuDragon, the wise are free of disease. Because they recognize the disease as a disease, therefore they are free of the disease.
Hello, I'm Severin Suzuki speaking for ECHO, the Environmental Children's Organization. We're a group of 12 and 13-year-olds trying to make a difference. Vanessa Suddy, Morgan Geisler, Michelle Quigg, and me. We've raised all the money to come here ourselves, to come 5,000 miles to tell you adults you must change your ways. Coming up here today, I have no hidden agenda. I am fighting for my future. Losing my future is not like losing an election or a few points on the stock market. I am here to speak for all generations to come. I am here to speak on behalf of the starving children around the world whose cries go unheard. I am here to speak for the countless animals dying across this planet because they have nowhere left to go. I am afraid to go out in the sun now because of the holes in our ozone. I am afraid to breathe the air because I don't know what chemicals are in it. I used to go fishing in Vancouver, my home, with my dad, until just a few years ago we found a fish full of cancers. And now we hear of animals and plants going extinct, every day vanishing forever. In my life, I have dreamt of seeing the great herds of wild animals, jungles and rainforests, full of birds and butterflies. But now I wonder if they will even exist for my children to see. Did you have to worry of these things when you were my age? All this is happening before our eyes, and yet we act as if we have all the time we want and all the solutions. I'm only a child, and I don't have all the solutions. But I want you to realize, neither do you. You don't know how to fix the holes in our ozone layer. You don't know how to bring the salmon back up a dead stream. You don't know how to bring back an animal now extinct. And you can't bring back the forest that once grew where there is now a desert. If you don't know how to fix it, please stop breaking it. Here, you may be delegates of your governments, business people, organizers, reporters, or politicians, but really, your mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, aunts and uncles, and all of you are someone's child. I'm only a child, yet I know we are all part of a family, 5 billion strong, in fact 30 million species strong, and borders and governments will never change that. I'm only a child, yet I know we are all in this together and should act as one single world towards one single goal. In my anger, I am not blind, and in my fear, I am not afraid of telling the world how I feel. In my country, we make so much waste. We buy and throw away, and yet northern countries will not share with the needy. Even when we have more than enough, we are afraid to share. We are afraid to let go of some of our wealth. In Canada, we live the privileged life, with plenty of food, water, and shelter. We have watches, bicycles, computers, and television sets. The list could go on for 2 days. 2 days ago, here in Brazil, we were shocked when we spent time with some children living on the streets. This is what one child told us. I wish I was rich. And if I were, I would give all the street children food, clothes, medicines, shelter, and love and affection. If a child on the streets who has nothing is willing to share, why are we who have everything still so greedy? I can't stop thinking that these are children my own age, that it makes a tremendous difference where you are born. That I could be one of those children living in the favelas in Rio. I could be a child starving in Somalia, or a victim of war in the Middle East, or a beggar in India. I am only a child, yet I know if all the money spent on war was spent on finding environmental answers, ending poverty, and finding treaties, what a wonderful place this earth would be. At school, even in kindergarten, you teach us how to behave in the world. You teach us not to fight with others, to work things out, to respect others, to clean up our mess, not to hurt other creatures, to share, not be greedy. Then why do you go out and do the things you tell us not to do? Do not forget why you are attending these conferences, who you're doing this for. We are your own children. You are deciding what kind of world we are growing up in. Parents should be able to comfort their children by saying, everything's going to be all right. It's not the end of the world, and we're doing the best we can. But I don't think you can say that to us anymore. Are we even on your list of priorities? My dad always says, you are what you do, not what you say. Well, what you do makes me cry at night. You grown-ups say you love us, but I challenge you, please, make your actions reflect your words. Thank you.